thousands of tents washed away, the remaining rubble of bomb buildings crumbling in the stormy weather, babies dying of hypothermia, and ongoing attacks. Life in Gaza still infernal. Israel maintains a blockade on the borders, allowing little to no aid into a starving, trapped people. And while Israel said last week that Palestinians could leave via the Rafah crossing with Egypt, it gave no guarantee that people could return. What's more, not many countries are offering help to Palestinians, even for urgent medical evacuations. Israel has bombed the vast majority of Gaza's hospitals, the ones left barely functional and lacking essential medical supplies, which Israel is blocking. Israel also bombed most of Gaza's schools and universities over the last 2 years, and most people living there have been unable to attend any classes for years. Some have found ways to continue somehow studies online, and many hope that a scholarship could help them get out of the region. Some 300 applicants to study in France are currently waiting for a reply, but getting accepted far from a given. Since the start of this latest war on Gaza, France is said to have accepted just over 600 Palestinians. We can speak now to the president of the Association for Academic Solidarity with Palestine, Anne-Christine HABBARD. Thanks so much for joining us from Lille. Can I firstly perhaps start by asking you about this association that you started and what you have managed to put in place?
Thank you so much for having me. So I am a professor at philosophy at the University of Lille, and we started this NGO called Academic Solidarity with Palestine in February 2024. The aim was to support Gazan students and Gazan universities. So we've set up a whole array of projects providing volunteers for online courses for Gazan universities, which indeed are still resumed their activities quite early on and are still continuing to award degrees, have online courses. We also have our own free language courses. We also distribute free eSIMs so that the students can keep connecting and keep following their courses. We have a series of high-level scientific talks. We organize practical workshops for students. So there's a whole bunch of things that we have done to support Gazan students and universities throughout this conflict.
And tell me a bit more about how many Palestinian students have managed to connect with you and how are they managing? I mean, what's the latest you're hearing from them about things on the ground in Gaza?
So as you were saying in your presentation, things in Gaza are terrible and unfortunately not improving very much. So because we have about 5,000 volunteers, academic volunteers, who have by now, I think, given approximately taught probably about 1,000 courses. And then we have our own, as I was telling you, free language courses. So now we have, I think, about 100 courses running in languages. So overall, we've had, I think, a total of 2,000 or 3,000 Gazan students who work with us. Now, connections are terrible. Internet is cut off very often. And this is why we embarked on this project of giving out free eSIMs. So at least they can, well, be connected with their families and relatives abroad, but also follow said courses and attend the courses, download the material, etc. So it's more or less, they're doing everything they can. But indeed, we did see a huge shift last spring, where until then, most of them were not happy to stay in Gaza, but stayed in Gaza and following the courses online. And then since last spring, there's been this huge demand for scholarships and for admissions abroad. So now we have also shifted to helping Gazan students apply to scholarships, apply to admissions to foreign universities. So that's a whole new project that we're embarking on.
And how is that going, that new project?
So this is it's actually the situation is untenable. So and it's infuriating in so many ways because it's illegitimate, unfair, and short-sighted on the European countries, Europe itself, or countries elsewhere. So students in Gaza are extremely well qualified. They hardworking. They have a level way above what, but it's like they're super good, super intelligent. They've been duly admitted to universities. So I know the situation in Europe better, but they've been admitted to among the best universities in Europe. They've jumped through all the hoops. They've taken all the tests in spite of not necessarily having an easy connection, etc. They've got scholarships from private foundations or public foundations, and yet they're stuck. There are very few student evacuations have taken place. As you were mentioning, most of the evacuations, which are not many, are for either people who already have relatives in European countries or or it's medical evacuations. But when it comes to students, there have been a few. Ireland and Italy have been quite good. The UK has resumed in October, I think. France is shamefully behind. And right now we're met with a deafening silence. Students do not know if or when they will be evacuated. So as far as students are concerned, the situation is really extremely difficult. And so it's illegitimate because these are duly admitted students. It's unfair because here again, we see what has been called the Palestine exception, that somehow Palestinian students would not have the same rights as other students elsewhere, or you see also the double standards with what happened in Ukraine. And it is short-sighted because actually it's these students or scholars, actually, because we also deal with higher level scholars, would be a benefit, would be an asset to European universities. So it's actually short-sighted not to let them come in. They would be an excellent asset for research institutions, for the research labs, for universities themselves. So overall, we find it an indefensible position of European countries, each one of them, and of the European Union as a whole.
And just before I leave you, I mean, are they getting officially rejected or simply ignored? They're just not being helped to get out of Gaza to take up their places?
So this is what is indeed most infuriating, is that absolute silence. They're told, well, maybe we don't know when it will resume. And basically they don't know. So they turn to us, and we're an NGO. So of course we wouldn't know when the evacuations will resume. They get conflicting or contradictory information, but or most often no information whatsoever. So they're just waiting. They're left in a limbo. Those of their friends who are allowed out, either because they already have relatives in countries, tell them only once they're out. So they, then they call me and say, well, my friend just sent a message from Charles de Gaulle, Aéroport Charles de Gaulle, and why is he out and I'm not, whereas I've had my scholarship for a year? So this is what is the most absurd of it all, is that we have, the process is very opaque. And there's no transparency. It's discretionary. It's random decisions seem to be taken. And every time we are met with silence, and they are met with silence, more importantly. So the situation is, so as I said, Ireland, Italy, Spain, Norway also have done some efforts, but much more needs to be done. There's a universal right to education, and Palestinian students definitely deserve to enjoy it fully.